The Internet of Things is going to be a major player at the Winter Olympics in South Korea, and Kahn from the IoT Consortium is here to talk to us about how it's going to be a game changer. Greg, why is IoT going to make such a big splash at the Winter Olympics?
Sure. Well, South Korea is one of the most connected countries in the world. And so the next three Olympics are going to be in Asia. And I think it's a showcase for that portion of the globe to really showcase all the new technology and what could be done with ubiquitous high-speed internet in terms of smart cities and what we can look for in terms of wearables and homes. And we always know that the Olympics are somewhat aspirational, right? Everybody dreams of being an Olympian of some sort. And so it's a great showcase from a technology standpoint to think about what can we look forward to as a society and how could it seamlessly fit into our lives and make us better athletes and better individuals. And so in PyeongChang, starting today, we'll start to see some of those technologies come into play in clothing, as well as in pins and in other form factors. But really what the athletes and what all the companies are hoping for is that to some degree the technology will be invisible and it will just be about the interaction and the output of that technology, that it will make the individuals better performers, the fans to have a better experience without being aware of the technology that's in play.
Greg, can you tell me about Visa's partnership with South Korean retailer Lodi and how they're using that for mobile payments?
Sure. Lodi is a big conglomerate and has multiple divisions, including a financial services division. And Visa, as the official partner, had introduced a different form factor rings in the last Summer Olympics game. And this partnership is all about, how do you protect yourself in colder weather, and also how do you incorporate some of the traditions of the Olympics into a payment environment. And so, essentially there are three different form factors that they're introducing: a pin, a sticker, and gloves. And so the idea being is that you have collectible pins anyway of the Olympics. The pin itself costs a little bit less than $5, and the sticker, my understanding is that you can have different denominations going up to $185, and the gloves somewhere between $30 and $50 in terms of prepayments. But essentially, what it does is it enables the fans themselves and the athletes, if they're wearing or if they have these stickers or pins affixed, to be able to go to one of the almost 1,000 retailers without taking off their gloves or digging for their wallet. We're seeing the movement from plastic to digital payments happen across the globe. And this is a new way incorporating wearable fabric, wearable technology to introduce it to athletes and fans around the globe.
Greg, why is IoT so important to the world?
Yeah, IoT is often referred to in places like Davos as the fourth industrial revolution. It's really the fusion between the digital and the physical. And so what's happening is that it's influencing many disciplines and industries in rapid fashion. More and more people around the globe are becoming aware of the power of emerging technologies to transform our economies, our societies, and even who we are as humans. And so, the reality is it's going to change the societal fabric of our life and our times. But it has larger impacts for us to be aware of, not just technological, but also biological, ethical. And so it's important to the world because the population is growing rapidly. We have more limited resources to bring to bear. And technology is being embedded in every facet of our life. But how is it going to help us to live better, to have an environment that's more sustainable as we're taking more and more resources from the earth? And so, in a nutshell, that's why IoT is so important.
Is IoT becoming part of everyday life for everyone? And if so, what are some examples you can share?
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're not at where I would say we're at mass adoption where it's hitting everybody in every phase of their life every day. That being said, adoption is accelerating rapidly at work, at home, as products and services improve in value and in price, and that's starting to happen. You can look at one small component of the IoT ecosystem, and that being smart speakers and voice activation. and sort of the acceleration of that over the past 2 years. In the United States, it was reported that 7% of American adults received a smart speaker this holiday season, 4% their first one. And so that at price points that were much lower than when they were initially introduced. And so, the point being is that voice as a platform now is starting to take over almost on an everyday basis, if not on an everyday basis for many, many Americans, and starting to become individuals around the world that are now having access to the Amazon Echoes and the Google Homes as well. What happens when somebody gets used to one component of IoT, whether it's a product or a service, is they often get hooked on other. So it drives further adoption of other device categories. What I do want to kind of point out as we're building this in terms of it affecting everybody in their everyday life is that there's now a need, and I mentioned this in the fourth industrial revolution, is that there's a need to start thinking about the social good aspect of what we're developing. And so making sure that there's benefits for smart cities and cars and homes, that it reaches all citizens, all humans equally, and not further segregates us.
Greg, what about the data being collected from these devices? Is it going to change how we operate in our homes and within a smart city?
Yeah, I mean, it already is changing how we live. I mean, really with the power of data, in some corners we call that big data from individual products and services. While it's useful, really the true value is achieved when you start to share and analyze the data between ecosystem partners. So examples. In wearables, next generation wearables will continue to measure health biometrics. So Apple's new health iOS app will combine watch data with medical records to provide physicians a more complete snapshot of a patient's health. It's fusing different data, right? The data from the activity from the watch with the medical data. There are automation platforms like IFT and Stringify that create more personalized experiences from physical devices, from social platforms that make it more useful for consumers. Another aspect of kind of sharing data is that insurance companies kind of gaining data from devices. And so individuals essentially giving up their data or sharing their data in exchange for lower premiums, and whether that be on health, pay as you live, or in automotive, pay as you go, as you drive. So where the power is fusing very different data streams together, but we're at the early stages of that as it relates to IoT, and we have a lot of work to do as an industry and as the consortium representing so many different companies in this space to develop the right guardrails around it, to make sure that data is secure, that it's not identifiable by individual, and to figure out kind of the rules of the game in terms of whether a consumer opts in or opts out to that data. So in kind of circling back, there's lots of utility for data in this space. There's more data being generated every day, but we have to have some self-guidelines around the data that's being generated.